days get stranger. A lifestyle you in danger. Counted that cost to the payer. Give a damn about it, y'all. This was Jacob. All my riches with God, I'm a layup. Now I'm surrounded with saviors. The hate is hilarious. See the wicked, he died in the will of my God, overtaking the areas. Tried to live in my ticket to heaven. That pestilence hit and I slide in the chariot. To overcome, I can tell the kinetic.
All right. We're going to go ahead and get started. Most High in Christ bless. Hey, pull that up. So the title of today's class is Hatred, a two-sided coin. This will be a part one. It's going to be two parts. I was going to try to squeeze everything into one class, but I know I wasn't going to be able to get through it. So it's going to be the two-sided coin is going to be two separate classes. So the first layer of hatred, let's pull up that first article. First layer of hatred we're going to deal with is actually self-hatred. Self-hatred. So the title of the class is Hatred, a two-sided coin. Let's pull up that Wikipedia. Because we have a lot of issues that we come into the truth and we still battle with various issues, and a lot of the issues comes out on the surface as how we deal with each other. But the root cause of that is how we view ourselves. If we view ourselves in a negative light, we don't really have confidence in ourselves. Oftentimes, not all the time, but oftentimes it's because it's just a reflection of how we feel about ourselves, and it comes out on how we treat each other, on how we deal with one another. It's a result of how we feel about ourselves. Let's pull it up. Oh, you got your glasses today, all praises. And he got the fresh braid up. I guess us talking about the
Yes, sir.
all
Yes, sir.
praises. Go ahead.
Self-hatred. Self-hatred is a state of personal self-loathing or low self-esteem. It is commonly associated with mood and personality disorders, namely major depressive disorder, MDD.
Where you at?
At the bottom.
Okay, I see. Mood and personality. Okay, I see it. So self-hatred, when you have self-hatred is low self-esteem. So a lot of us growing up, we become adults, but we have low self-esteem. And it's really self-hatred. That low self-esteem is self-hatred. Read on.
Self-hating thoughts are often persistent and can feel overbearing or overwhelming to the person.
Let's move it up to the top. I keep getting thrown off by that. All right, let's go.
Overbearing or overwhelming thoughts to the person and are commonly seen in suicidal individuals.
And then low self-esteem, you got various levels of low self-esteem. Some levels of low self-esteem where you are extremely, and we're gonna go to another article to speak of it. You can be extremely, fearful. You question yourself. You always second guessing the things that you do, or you overly critical about the things that you do. You overly critical. A lot of times we'll say, I'm my worst self-critic. And yes, we're supposed to examine ourselves. Yes, we're supposed to analyze the things that we're doing, things like that. But a trait of low self-esteem is you can overanalyze yourself, and then it stops you from actually taking action because you're so critical of yourself. That's self-hatred. That's low self-esteem. Go ahead.
In psychology and psychiatry.
Go ahead.
Psychiatry. The term self-hatred is used infrequently by psychologists
and psychiatrists
who would usually describe people who hate themselves as people with low self-esteem. Self-hate or self-loathing is characterized by persistent negative thoughts or feelings directed towards oneself, often involving intense self-criticism and self-judgment. It can typically manifest as a recurring internal dialogue that emphasizes one's personal flaws, mistakes, and perceived shortcomings. Individuals experiencing self-hate may have a heightened focus on negative aspects of themselves.
You said it's a constant, recurrent internal dialogue. Is that what you said? Yes, that's heavy. That's that same old voice that you got to learn to master. That same old voice that maybe your mom or your dad put there, said you ain't ish.
Yep.
You ain't never gonna be ish. Or you failed at something and you never figured out why you failed at it, and you repeat it to yourself, this is why you failed, because you are nothing. You got to learn to overcome that constant, persistent, nagging voice. That constant, persistent, nagging voice ain't just going to go nowhere. You have to learn how to tell that voice, shut up. I'm going to prove to you through my actions that you are a lie. That's the voice of the devil. He's designed to lie and deceive you into not moving forward, to stay stuck, frozen in fear. That's why a lot of us don't, really take on responsibilities.
Right.
Because we keep listening to that voice.
Right. Go ahead. Pull it back up.
Individuals experiencing self-hate may have a heightened focus on negative aspects of themselves and their experiences, while minimizing or disregarding positive attributes of or achievements. These thought patterns can affect an individual's overall worldview.
So it says individuals experience self-hate may have a heightened focus on negative aspects of themselves and their experiences while minimizing or disregarding positive attributes or achievements. A lot of times you could be very good at doing something, and sometimes it comes out when you may be like, how on a resume or a job application they ask you what are some of your good traits or what are some good skills that you have. And some of us will have a difficulty highlighting or writing down skills and talents that we actually have. That's a result of low self-esteem. It's self-hatred, because you're not able to admit to the things that are good within you. You only focus on the things that are bad. And there's various reasons why we are like that. The ultimate reason we know that we are in captivity. We have been beaten down all our lives. All of us have had various experiences, but that's one of the things. We don't know how, and sometimes it even comes out when you do something good, somebody gives you a compliment, and in your mind, well, it wasn't that good. I didn't do it. It wasn't that good. They over-exaggerating it. You beat yourself down even when somebody actually highlights something good that you did, or highlights a skill or a gift that you have. In your mind, you'll accept it. You kind of give a fake smile and accept the compliment, but then you walk away, and in your head, you're like, well, I really wasn't that. It really didn't happen that good because I made this mistake, that mistake, this mistake. You don't focus on the end result of whatever it may have been. You look at, well, I made this mistake in the process of getting it done, so no, it wasn't that good. You would talk yourself out of the good compliment, which is the compliment is there to encourage you and build you up, but you reject it by your own negative self-talk. Go ahead.
These thought patterns can affect an individual's overall worldview and emotional well-being. In some cases, individuals may not be consciously aware of the extent or impact of these cognitive patterns,
which is very common. We'll be like this, but we won't really won't see it, or we really wouldn't be able to identify it. Go ahead. I'm gonna try not to, because it's a lot of articles and it's a lot of reading. I want to try to get through it. Go ahead.
Self-hatred, self-guilt, and shame are important factors in some of many mental disorders.
Wait, you know what? I want to get a scripture real quick. While we reading this, it'd be hard to just read through this, because then you ain't remember everything and be able to come back and touch on all the points. We get Sirach chapter 3 and verse 24. And most of the time when we use this scripture, it's based on evil surmising or something towards somebody else. But it also goes with this self-hatred. Read.
The book of Sirach, chapter 3 and verse 24. For many are deceived by their own vain opinion.
Because if you did something and you did it very good, you did a good job at it, somebody gives you a compliment, or whatever it was, whatever task you've been given, you completed it. It helped move things forward. But you in your mind, well, nah, this wasn't good enough. You talk yourself down. That's a vain opinion. That's a vain opinion of yourself. Read.
And an evil suspicion hath overthrown their judgment.
And that evil suspicion that you have about yourself is going to overthrow your judgment. How? Because now you're not going to take action. You're not going to continue doing good works like that because now you done talked yourself out of it. Like, well, it wasn't that good. They lying. They not really. They saying I did a good job, but they don't see these details that I missed. You will talk yourself out of it, and now you'll find yourself not inactive with things that you should be active at because you're very good at it. We'll talk ourselves out of things where you could be, and it happens. You could be a 25-year-old, you get the opportunity to do certain things, and then you don't do it. And then 10 years later, you're like, man, I should have did that. I wouldn't be in this position. So now you start beating yourself up about it. That's all self-hate, self-loathing. Okay, whatever happened yesterday, it happened yesterday. Today is a new day. You can look at it and be like, hey, you know what? I made this mistake, but hey, I'm still breathing. I still got breath in my body. So, hey, I may not be able to do that exact thing, but you know what? I got these skills. I got this. I got these resources. Let me move forward and change the course now. So now another 10 years don't pass by, and I'm saying the same thing. Well, I should have took that opportunity 10 years ago. No, we have to learn how to where is it at? David encouraged himself in the Lord. It's right after the just popped in my man. You know what's that? It was right after when they came back and they wives and children was taken. 1 Samuel 30:6. All praises.
The book of 1 Samuel, chapter 30 and verse 6.
Come on.
And David was greatly distressed.
Wait 1 second. Let me 30. Start at verse 3.
1 Samuel chapter 30
Start
and
verse 1. Start at verse 1. Just read quick.
Verse 1. It came to pass, when David and his men were come to Ziklag on the third day, that the Amalekites had invaded the south, and Ziklag, and smitten Ziklag, and burned it with fire, and had taken the women captives that were therein. They slew not any, either great or small, but carried them away, and went on their way. So David and his men came to the city, and behold, it was burned with fire, and their wives, and their sons, and their daughters were taken captives. Then David and the people that were with him lifted up their voice and wept until they had no more power to weep.
So David was the leader. They had came back from war, and the city that they was living in was burned with fire. Their wives was taken, the children was taken captives. So let's see what David did. I'm not gonna jump ahead. Read.
And David's two wives were taken captives. Ahinoam, the Jezreelitess, and Abigail, the wife of Nabal, the Carmelite. And David was greatly distressed, for the people spake of stoning him.
So David was greatly distressed, and the people was about to stone David because he was the leader. They like, this your fault. So in that moment, this is not a compliment. This is actually people finna stone him. And David did what? Read.
For the people spake of stoning him, because the soul of all the people was grieved. Every man for his sons and for his daughters. But David encouraged himself in the Lord his God.
But David encouraged himself in the Lord his God. That's what we have to learn how to do. We have to learn how to, okay, I made a mistake. Okay, I'm still breathing. The world ain't over. It's time for, okay, I made a mistake. Okay, let me go and meditate. Let me go to the scriptures. Let me go and pray. Let me get some counsel. Let me do something to build my spirit back up so I can move forward and make decisions to where this ain't gonna happen again. Read.
Verse 7. And David said to Abiathar the priest, Ahimelech's son, I pray thee, bring me hither the ephod. And Abiathar brought thither the ephod to David. And David inquired at the Lord, saying, shall I pursue after this troop? Shall I overtake them? And he answered him, pursue, for thou shalt surely overtake them, and without fail recover all.
So instead of David going into a shell or going into a box like, oh, they finna stone me and then shut down, he said no. He encouraged himself, and then he went and prayed to the Most High to say, hey, shall we go and pursue him and overtake him? And he got his answer, and when you read on, that's exactly what they did. They went and overtook it. So the same thing, that same principle or spirit applies to us with our personal, with ourselves. You may have made a mistake. You may have made a mistake 10 years ago, 5 years ago, hell, yesterday. You have to, instead of loathing and beating yourself up about it, you have to encourage yourself in the Lord and look up like, hey, you know what? I made this mistake, but it ain't over. A lot of, when you look at if you ever look at like these little motivational videos and shorts and things like that successful people had, they'll tell you that they made many mistakes. They had many quote unquote failures to get to where they at. So just because you made a mistake, just because you failed at something, that don't mean that the world is over. That's just a stepping stone for you perfecting whatever it may be. Whatever it is, perfecting yourself, perfecting whatever craft you got, whatever skill you got, whatever your purpose, whatever your plan is, that mistake or that temporary setback is just a stepping stone to you getting better. It's not a stepping stone. It's not a roadblock that's put there, and now you can't do nothing. You can't move forward. Now you crippled. We have to get out of that mindset. Let's go back to the article.
Self-hatred, self-guilt, and shame are important factors in some of many mental disorders, especially disorders that involve a perceived defect of oneself, e.g., body dysmorphic disorder. Self-hatred is also a symptom of many personality disorders, including borderline personality disorder, as well as mood disorders like depression. It can also be linked to guilt for someone's own actions that they view as wrongful.
So let's pull up real quick. Pull up that Wikipedia on the personality disorder. And just read. We're not gonna read through this whole. We'll read that on the side where it say personality disorders. DSM-5 classification.
Personality disorders, DSM-5 classification. Cluster A, odd or eccentric. Paranoia, schizoid, schizopal. Cluster B, dramatic, emotional, or erratic. Antisocial, borderline, histrionic, narcissistic.
So a lot of these, so not all, but as you see, a lot of people are antisocial. Sometimes they antisocial because they don't think they can say the right words. They may have had some type of trauma, or they have had some type of experience in the past where now they don't want to talk to nobody. They may have been bullied, whatever the case may be, but it's somebody being antisocial. Hover over borderline and see if something come up.
Read that?
Yeah, read that real quick.
Borderline personality disorder is a personality disorder characterized by a pervasive long-term pattern of significant interpersonal relationship instability, acute fear of abandonment, and intense emotional outbursts. People with BPD frequently exhibit
Okay, you go on. I think I shared the link for that. But histrionic, I'm not gonna have time to go through each and every one. But a lot of these personality disorders is a result of somebody having low self-esteem, somebody hating themselves. So it either result in them secluding themselves from everybody and just not being around, or it attribute to certain personality disorders where now they act a certain way towards other people, in that same self-hate, in that same level of hatred that they have for themselves, they display it on others. Go back to read the rest of them.
Cluster C, anxious or fearful, avoidant, dependent, obsessive, compulsive. Other personality disorders. Other specified, unspecified.
That's it. You can go back. Go back to the self-hatred. No, actually pull up the link with the borderline personality disorder. Because that was mentioned in the
borderline personality disorder is a personality disorder characterized by a pervasive long-term pattern of significant interpersonal relationship instability, acute fear of abandonment, and intense emotional outbursts. People with BPD frequently exhibit self-harming behaviors and engage in risky activities.
So this is people that have OD, people that have cut themselves. That's an extreme. That's them showing that they hate themselves. Read.
Primarily caused by difficulties in regulating emotions. Symptoms such as dissociation, a pervasive sense of emptiness, and disordered sense of self are prevalent.
Go ahead.
Onset of symptoms can be triggered by events others perceive as normal. With this disorder typically manifesting in early adulthood and persisting across diverse contexts.
All right, we can drop that. Go back to the other one. The self-hatred. So when a lot of the personality disorders that many people will be diagnosed with are a result of a person having self-hatred or low self-esteem. Pull the self-hatred back up. I think we was at that. I think we was at what self-hate can look like.
What self-hate can look like. Self-hate can look different from person to person, but there are several common patterns and traits that often appear. These may include difficulty showing oneself kindness or understanding, harsh and persistent self-criticism, struggles with self-trust or self-respect, frequent feelings of tension or emotional overwhelm. People experiencing self-hate often have persistent negative thoughts that can feel overpowering. Some examples of such critical thoughts might include, I'm going to fail at this. I hate myself. I'm not worthy of this opportunity. These thoughts tend to occur repetitively in a person's mind, with the negative thinking leading to emotional distress, which then leads to even more negative thoughts. That ends up creating a continuous cycle that can be difficult to break.
So you'll find yourself never taking a step to actually do something that's uncomfortable, because you'll always feel like you're not worthy of this opportunity. You'll feel like you don't deserve this, or you don't have the skill, or you don't have the ability, or you're gonna fail. It's not gonna come out right. Those are all it's all results of us having a level of self-hatred towards our own selves, and it's because of the things that we've grown up. It's various reasons, but go ahead, let's pull it back up. Well, y'all can just put me on picture in picture if I start talking, because we're gonna read through this whole thing.
Causes. Self-loathing is often associated with early life experiences, particularly adverse childhood experiences, which may continue to influence individuals into adulthood. According to Centers for Disease Control and Prevention, ACEs can include childhood trauma, exposure to domestic violence, various forms of abuse, emotional, physical, or sexual, dysfunctional family environments, and low self-esteem. And research indicates that children who experience such adversity are more likely to engage in self-harming behaviors compared to those without such experiences. A 2022 study reported similar findings, noting that individuals who experience emotional abuse or maltreatment during childhood often express feelings of self-hatred and engage in deliberate self-harm. Similarly, in another study published in 2022, researchers found that children who experience insecure attachment relationships in early childhood were more likely to develop maladaptive perfectionism as a coping mechanism to gain a sense of self-worth.
Hey, where is that at? Hey, let's search that. Maladaptive perfectionism. You about to say something?
Yeah, give me Galatians 6 real quick. Galatians 6 and 4, because this goes into you not thinking that your worth is comparable to anybody that you've seen. You might be comparing yourself to the exploits of someone else. You may be saying, okay, so-and-so and such and such did it like this, and it was great in my eyes. When another person telling you, you just as great. I see the same greatness in you. But you yourself saying, nah, I'm not like him. Let's see what mind we should be in. Give me that, Galatians 6 and 4. We got to learn to not compare ourselves according to the works of others, but just understand that we are capable, we are able, we do recognize that we are the sons and daughters of God, and let that propel us. That's all we need. Right. We don't need no pat on no back from no man. All we have to do is just be confident in our ability to execute, to be a vessel available for the Lord. That's all we need. Give me that. Read that.
The book of Galatians, chapter 6 and verse 4.
Come on.
But let every man prove his own work.
Let every man do what?
Prove his own work.
We have to prove our own work. We have to get our own selves into the kingdom of heaven by our works. How the saying go? You can lead a man to water, but you can't make him drink. Right? There's only so much you can be influenced to do. There's only so much you can do. But you, in the end, have to actually put forth effort, put forth a work, regardless of what's going off in your head. Regardless of that, that's a war up there. You have to learn to quiet him and prove your own works by working. Read.
And then shall he have rejoicing in himself alone.
And then, alone, you by yourself, you're going to pat yourself on the back. You're going to look back like, I did that. That voice is going to quiet, and another voice is going to come up like, you did that. With everything you had going on, nobody know that you was battling what you was battling, but with all that you had going on, you did that. You got to learn to take solace in those victories. Give me one more precept, Lamentations 3 and 51. We got to learn to take solace in those victories. To hell with what somebody else did. He was great for his time. He was great to motivate you to say you could do the same thing and just do it. That's what he was great for. All right. Now you're being used to say, all right, he's great. And what I like to do is I like to tell brothers and sisters, when they're raising their kids, you have to give them opportunities where they can recognize that they are great. Put them in a position to where they have a task to complete, and you give them expectations. You allow them to hit their head. You allow them to fail. But you also prop them up so that they can draw on the fact that I've accomplished something. I've did this. Put together, do something. Create a leather work. Do some woodworking. Sew something. Cook something. Do something so that when your child get older, he can reach back and say, I knuckled down and I dug deep. A lot of us don't have a lot of victories in our head, so we think we're nothing. We think we're nobody. We hate ourselves. We have to learn to prove to ourselves we are capable, we are able. Read that, verse 51.
Lamentations, chapter 3, verse 51.
Read.
Mine eye affected mine heart.
My eye affect my heart. The things I see is going to affect what I got going on in my head. I'm going to compare myself to what I see. Read.
Because of all the daughters of my city.
Because of everybody that's around me, wicked or repentant. Everybody that's around me is propelling me, if I'm not the spirit, to actually judge or gauge my righteousness according to them. Hey, Officer Semachiah been up here doing this class for 2 hours. I ain't did a 2-hour class yet. All I do is 30-minute classes. I see these things. Will that affect me? It depends on what state of mind I'm in. I'm letting y'all know what y'all see actually can affect you. Don't allow the slothfulness of a brother or a sister affect you, because you are affected by what you see. That's all. I just want to touch on that, because that's one of the reasons why self-hatred exists, because we compare ourselves to what we see. We need to get out that spirit of comparing ourselves to what we see.
All right, let's pull up that definition.
Maladaptive perfectionism is an unhealthy form of perfectionism where individuals set excessively high, often unattainable standards and respond to perceived failure with harsh self-criticism.
Go ahead.
This can lead to negative outcomes such as severe stress, anxiety, depression, and procrastination, and burnout, while also hindering performance despite the initial goal of perfection. Key signs include a black and white thinking pattern, intense fear of failure, and an inability to see anything less than perfect as acceptable.
So that's one of them traits that come from having low self-esteem. It's either you do it perfect where there's no errors, or you just don't do it at all, because you set such a high and you set such a high what's the word I'm looking for? Standard that you can't even reach. And then when you didn't reach it, now you just continue to beat yourself up more, because you didn't set the standard so high that you couldn't even you knew you couldn't reach it, but you set it so high and so far that when you didn't get to it, now you beat yourself up more, because you set an unrealistic expectation. And because it wasn't perfect or you wasn't able to attain it, now you even worse. That's a result of self-hatred or low self-esteem. Go back to the article. Because you do it, like it said here, it says you do it. It says, what is it? In early childhood, we're more likely to develop maladaptive perfectionism as a coping mechanism to gain a sense of self-worth. So you set that goal so high to it's a facade of, I'm capable of doing this, knowing that you're not. You set the perfect goal so high, then when you don't get to it, then when you don't meet it, now you self-defeating, loathing, shame. That cycle just continue and continue and continue.
So this sound like the result of bad parenting. It sounds like somebody didn't allow this child to achieve, didn't show this child that they were capable and able of doing things. Maybe the parent just did everything for the child, right? That's bad parenting. You have to give your child a sense of worth, or else they'll create their own worth. They'll create their own worth. They'll set standards and expectations that they think that they should feel because you didn't set the expectation for them. They don't know what to reach for, so they're reaching for the moon. You can't get to the moon without the proper equipment. But they're going to reach there, and they're never going to get there, and they're going to always fail. So it's going to continue to fulfill the prophecy which told them that they were nothing, because they keep showing that over and over again they're nothing. They're just not reaching for the right things. Okay, so they got to create this delusion. So pour into your children, okay? Give them things to make themselves feel valued, all right? All right?
Yes, sir.
All right. Because for right now, it's too late for a lot of y'all. It's too late for a lot of y'all, but it ain't too late for y'all kids. It's going to be harder for you. It's going to be harder for you, which is not impossible, but for your kids. Think about these things. For the kids that's here, think about those things. Maybe some of y'all don't have little ones here, but it is little ones here. Bring forth your ideas on how we can actually give them a sense of worth, accomplishments. That's why we have, when we were younger, we was growing up, we was having assemblies. We was having art shows. We had plays.
Come on.
We did things for the kids to show the kids you capable, you able. Okay? Y'all got kids, pour into them children. For some of y'all, it's a little too late, but it's not impossible to change, all right?
So pull the article back up.
Mental Health America identifies additional factors that may contribute to self-loathing, including frequent self-comparison with others, setting unrealistic expectations, excessive self-criticism, difficulty moving on from past mistakes, social isolation, and habitual negative thinking patterns.
And with that, sometimes you just got to do it. Sometimes what we'll do, like it says, it has said something about procrastination. What we'll do, we'll sit down and try to plan everything out. But then in that process of trying to plan everything out and make sure everything is lined up right, you get the as you writing what you writing, or whatever method you're doing, you'll look at it and you will talk yourself out of it. Sometimes you just gotta move and do it, and as you do it, in some things, you gotta analyze it, you gotta sit. But some things, when you to try to get out of that thought process of self-hate, that low self-esteem, you just gotta do it. You just gotta take action and move things around as you go, because now you're showing yourself that you can do it, you can accomplish these things. Go ahead.
Signs and symptoms. Though self-hate or self-loathing is not recognized as conditions in or of itself, it can manifest itself in different forms and through different symptoms. Usually it involves the lack of self-trust, self-compassion, along with judging oneself critically. Behaviors or belief patterns commonly manifested by people who experience self-hate include, but are not limited to, these symptoms: persistent feelings of inadequacy or low self-worth, struggling with body image or disordered eating habits, experiencing high levels of stress or frequent overwhelm, neglecting personal well-being or engaging in poor self-care over time, involvement in unhealthy or harmful relationships, displaying patterns of codependency, relying on substances such as drugs or alcohol.
And a lot of these things is a lot of the relying on substances such as drugs or alcohol. A lot of us grew up and we were 15, 16, some earlier than that. You started drinking alcohol. You started smoking. You started doing various things at a very young age because of the lack of parenting. Because of you had a low view of yourself, so you were easily influenced by peer pressure, or you may have been in a situation that's what you seen growing up, so you thought it was what was right. But all of those contribute to that self-hatred. It says persistent feelings of inadequacy or low self-worth, struggles with body image or disordered eating habits. Read on. Impact
of self-hate on individuals. Self-loathing can significantly influence an individual's thoughts, behaviors, and interpersonal relationships. Not only can it shape how people view themselves and how people make decisions, it can also influence people's interactions and relationships with others. Personal impact. People who experience self-hate often report low self-esteem and self-worth. This may arise from a persistent internal dialogue that is overly critical and demanding of themselves. This type of internalized negative self-concept and criticism can contribute to emotional distress and increase vulnerability to mental health conditions. For example, research published in 2019 indicated a link between feelings of self-disgust, loneliness, and symptoms of depression. Additionally, a 2022 study identified self-hatred as a contributing factor in suicide attempts, especially among males. Interpersonal relationships. Self-loathing may also impact and interfere with one's ability to form and maintain meaningful social connections. Individuals may isolate themselves to avoid perceived rejection or judgment. A 2018 study found that self-directed negativity can lead to greater social withdrawal, reduced emotional expression, and a reluctance to engage with others. Romantic relationships may be especially impacted. Though the person might desire connection, the person's own fear of vulnerability, lack of self-worth, or perceiving oneself as flaws can create emotional barriers that make it difficult to develop or maintain a sense of intimacy with others. Impact on ambitions and future. Persistent self-hate and criticism and a lack of self-trust may undermine a person's ability to set and pursue goals. People who struggle with self-hate may constantly compare themselves unfavorably to others and doubt their own capabilities, believing that they are not good enough. This type of mindset can lead to avoidance of new challenges or opportunities, limiting their ambitions and possible opportunities.
Your glass is working?
Yeah, they work.
Go ahead.
Thus, self-loathing may limit one's personal and professional growth, hinder self-advocacy, and effectively prevent people from reaching their full potential.
So all of these is things that happen based on how we view ourselves. We don't get to where we want to in our life or in our job, in our careers, or whatever the case may be. We don't get to where we want to get because we always talk ourselves out of it because of a low self-esteem, because we don't want to step out of our comfort zone. So we see these are the various traits and the various things that come with it. Why and how do we get like that? How do we get to that point where we have a low esteem of ourselves? We hate ourselves. How do we get there? There's various reasons, but go to Proverbs chapter 13 and verse 12.
The book of Proverbs, chapter 13 and verse 12.
Come on.
Hope deferred maketh the heart sick, but when the desire cometh, it is a tree of life.
So it says, hope deferred maketh the heart sick. Growing up in the communities that we've grown up, there's a lot of things that may have been placed in front of us, or promises made, various rewards or various things that said that we was going to get, and we never got it. So it was we developed the mindset of, okay, whatever. Where, you could have, like, I know when we was coming up, they had those like, you sell candy. You could sell candy at school, you get a prize. Anybody remember that? You may have had situations like that, and you wanted to do it as a child, where you went and looked through the book. You seen these certain gifts. If you sold a certain amount of candy, you wanted to do it. But then when you went to go do it, your parents shut it down. So now you like, okay, after so many occurrences of that, you like, okay, forget it. Well, I just ain't gonna try to do nothing. Well, you may have been good with a instrument, whatever the case may be. You may have been good at something, and when you wanted to do it, you got shut down. And after so many times you putting forth an effort to try to do it because you enjoyed it, you liked it, and then you got shut down, or you didn't have the support. You come to a point, you develop the sense of, okay, if it's not important to the person, if it's not important to my parent or my uncle, the person I look up to, if it's not important to them, then okay, I guess it's not important. I'm not gonna pursue it. I'm just not gonna do nothing. That's how that self-hatred, that self-esteem, that's how it starts. It starts when we are children, for most of us, because it's certain things that you may have experienced, certain things that you may have wanted, or certain promises that was made, you never got it, so you just develop the sense of, okay, whatever, I guess it's not important. I ain't gonna do nothing. I'm just gonna sit back and chill and just let life go by. Go to Sirach chapter 22. Sirach chapter 22 and verse 10.
The book of Sirach, chapter 22 and verse 10. But children, being haughty, through disdain and want of nurture, do stain the nobility of their kindred.
So what I want out of here is the part where it says one of nurture, goes with what Officer Yochanan mentioned. Growing up, a lot of us growing up, we didn't get that nurture, them opportunities like he mentioned. We didn't get taught how to value. We wasn't taught how to value ourselves. We wasn't taught how to when we accomplish things, or how to perform the what's the word I'm looking for? Like the abilities that we had, the gifts. We wasn't given opportunities to excel at those gifts and then get it nurtured, get it built up. And the thing about it is, it wasn't that our parents didn't want to do it. We have to understand, it all circles around us being in captivity, and our parents had certain levels of trauma, certain levels of ways that they were raised, certain things that was certain levels of trauma and things that they wasn't taught, so they didn't know how to cultivate your gifts. They didn't know how to nurture what you had. So us growing up, us realizing that that's a thought process, or a way of, now, okay, we got to move forward. We got to move forward. We got to forgive them, forgive yourself, and we got to move forward. Because otherwise, you're going to continue in this cycle of self-hatred, loathing. Because the scripture says, children being haughty, through disdain and want of nurture, do stain the nobility of their kindred. That's why we see in the streets of Chicago, a lot of these young men, a lot of these young sisters are terrorizing the streets, robbing 81-year-olds, just shooting aimlessly. They doing these things, but that's the attention that they getting the attention that they wanted, but now it's in a wrong way. Message. Because they wanted attention when they was growing up, but they didn't get it, so they turned to the streets. They turned elsewhere, and that's them being haughty. Because over time, go to Sirach chapter 30 and verse 8. Because the self-hatred, it comes from our upbringing. And for many, we've had different levels of upbringing. The upbringing could have been where you wasn't taught to do things. It could have been small as you was very smart, but academically you wasn't taught to actually pursue those good grades and use your wits to get good grades. You wasn't motivated or encouraged to do those things, so it just resulted in you having a negative outlook on yourself. Like, okay, I'm smart, but I can't do that, because you wasn't nurtured to do those things. But go to Sirach 30 and 8.
The book of Sirach, chapter 30 and verse 8. In horse not broken becometh headstrong.
So it's a horse that's not broken becomes headstrong, meaning you didn't break that horse in. You didn't train that horse. Read.
And a child left to himself will be willful.
So this is another, when a child is left to himself, meaning they grow up, they do what they want, when they want, how they want, which is a lot of us was raised where you was walking to school by yourself, coming home by yourself. You was at home by yourself, cooking, cleaning. You probably was in a lot of, some probably was raising their little brother and their little sister. You were forced to be an adult before you actually was an adult. And that upbringing, you became willful, because now you like, well, I did it when I was a child. Can't nobody tell me nothing. I can do this, that, and the third. And now that's a form of self-hatred. Because now because you grew up, it says a child left to himself will be willful. A person that's willful, you ain't gonna go get counsel when you need counsel, because you gonna think that you know everything. You're gonna think that you have all the answers to every situation. That's a form of self-hatred, because none of us know everything. None of us know how to get, no matter how much you have achieved, accomplished, whatever, at some point we all have to be able to lean on each other and ask a question to our brother or sister, because none of us knows everything. But when a child grows up and they left to figure out a lot of things on their own, they grow up thinking that, oh, I got this. I figured it out when I was a child. Now I'm an adult. I don't need no help because I figured it out when I was a child. So now I'm an adult. I could just figure everything out on my own. That's self-hatred. you won't grow, because when somebody is trying to tell you something that's beneficial, you're not gonna receive it. You're not gonna hear it because you think you got it all. You think that's a unreasonable amount of self-esteem. That means you arrogant, you proud, because now can't nobody tell you nothing, or you can't get counsel. That's a form of self-hatred, because you're not gonna grow. You're not gonna grow from thinking that you know everything, thinking can't nobody tell you nothing. That's a form of self-hatred, because we're gonna stick to this. So go to Deuteronomy 25, 22 verse 25.
The book of Deuteronomy, chapter 22 and verse 25. But if a man find a betrothed damsel in the field, and the man force her, and lie with her, then the man only that lay with her shall die.
And go ahead, read on.
But unto the damsel thou shalt
So
do
we're
nothing.
reading about rape. A lot of our brothers, a lot of our sisters were molested as a child. And when they were molested as a child, a lot of times what happens is they beat themselves up about it, like they should have did something wrong. Or not something wrong. Like they should have did something different. And they grow up, and it's in their mind that they was the problem, that they got molested. Read.
But unto the damsel thou shalt do nothing.
Uh-huh.
There is in the damsel no sin worthy of death.
Read.
For as when a man riseth against his neighbor,
Because when rape happens, read.
and slayeth him, even so is this matter.
When a person is raped, that's just like putting them to death. Because when a child is molested, the innocency they have has been taken from them. They've been robbed of their innocency. So now they will grow up. A lot of our sisters, you see a lot of our and brothers, they grow up being promiscuous. Brothers will grow up and they'll be sodomites because they were molested as a child. They grow up and they excel in self-hating behavior because what happened to them when they was young. Because in their mind as a child, because they didn't know no better, but in their mind they would grow up thinking it was their fault. They was the problem. They was the issue. They may have even been told that if they tried to report it to their parents and the parents didn't believe them, or the parent had more they didn't want to lose their husband, or they didn't want to lose their boyfriend or girlfriend, so they disregarded what that child said. Now that child is gonna grow up hating themselves, and that child gonna grow up being promiscuous or liking the other sex because they wasn't nurtured. Whatever happened to them while they was small, it was thrown off and threw off as nothing. So now they gonna grow up hating themselves with low self-esteem, not really believing that they can do anything else. They'll grow up believing that, well, there's nothing else for me to do. This is the lot that was given to me. I was molested as a child. Now I'm a hoe, and that's just it. That's self-hatred. So for us in this truth, we have to overcome those things, those thoughts, those all of that stuff, and all that stuff happened yesterday. It ain't nothing that we can do to change it ain't nothing that we can do to go back and change the various things that may have happened. But now that we got this truth, we can move forward and be able to make the necessary changes to develop ourselves.
That's right.
You might be 40, 50. When you was 18, 19, you got out of high school, you didn't go to college, whatever the case may be. Okay, it's not too late for you to go and get an education. It ain't too late for you to go and do various things. Pull up the next the image of trauma.
Trauma. Trauma is the lasting emotional response to a distressing or disturbing event that overwhelms a person's ability to cope, often resulting in feelings of helplessness, fear, or shame.
And it's the same thing as low self-esteem. You had keep that on the screen. You had situations that happened. A lot of us had situations that happened when we were, whether it was you may have been bullied, whatever you may have been bullied, molested. You was always talked down on, saying you can't amount to nothing. Whatever the case may be, those are lasting emotional responses. Because when you're faced with a situation, it's an emotion. You feel like you're helpless. You fear. You feel like you can't move forward. You feel like you can't do nothing. All of those are feelings of helplessness, fear, and shame. You may be introverted, but the reason you're introverted is because of something that happened to you when you was younger. Something that happened to you when you was whether you was a child or a teenager, 20, 25, certain situations happen. So now that emotion, you don't want to, the emotion of hurt, you don't want to experience it no more. So now you restrict yourself in things that you're exposed to so that you can be better and grow.
Right.
Read.
These events can be a single occurrence, like an accident, or a series of events like abuse. And they can have long-term negative effects on a person's mental, emotional, and even physical well-being.
And it's just like you can have somebody that get locked up when they 16 and do 20 years, get out when they 36, but they get out and what happens? They still living, they still have the mindset of a 16-year-old because they stuck. Even though they was in jail and they grew older by age, they stuck at that moment in their life. They get out and they really still have the mindset of a 16-year-old because they wasn't able to develop. When we get stuck, the thing about it, when we have things that happen to us and we get stuck in that moment, it prevents us from growing because we stuck in that moment. We didn't, for lack of better terms, we didn't overcome that situation. We let it keep us at that moment in time. That's what trauma is. When you go through a certain trauma, now, like even it could even be something to the extent of getting in a bad car accident. You was driving, you got in a bad car accident, now you never drive again. You stuck to an emotional response. Maybe you got in a bad car accident and it was your fault because you did something. That don't mean stop driving. It means, okay, I got in this bad accident. Now I know not to do that no more. So now I'm going to continue to drive, but I'm never going to do that again because the last time I did that, I got in a bad accident and I almost lost my life. But if you do the flip side of it and say, hey, I'm never jumping in the car again because I got in this bad accident that I caused, that was my fault. Now you'll never grow from that situation. Because what we have to grow to understand is that we are going to make mistakes. We are going to do some stupid stuff. But when we do that stupid stuff and we see the consequences of it, it's for us to be like, okay, I'm not going to do that again. I'm going to get some counsel so I can move better and do better and make better decisions. And I'm going to grow. That's how you grow and you become stronger. That's why in the scriptures it talk about the hoary, you're supposed to honor the hoary head. Because when you have an elder, they supposed to have been through things that they can show the younger so that the younger don't make the same mistakes. That's non-existent in our community today, but that's why you're supposed to honor the hoary head, because they supposed to have gained wisdom through the life that they live, so that when you go through it at your age, you can go to their hoary head and ask them, hey, did you ever experience this? And they can be like, yeah, I did this, or I had a friend, and they can be able to give you that wisdom.
That's
But
right.
we don't have that, and what happens is we get stuck in trauma. We get stuck in trauma and then we don't grow. We grown as it relates to our age, but we still act like children because we holding on to a traumatic event that may have happened. And that traumatic event may have been something extreme, as you've been molested, something happened to you, you got robbed, or it might be something as small as you didn't get the opportunity. You wanted to sell some candy and you wasn't given the opportunity to do it. So you didn't get the little prize that you wanted to get. it's it's a small level of trauma, but it's still trauma. It's something that affects you for when you grow up. It's something that affects you because you will always think about it. It always comes to your mind when you go forward to try to do things. You know what? This is a good opportunity. I like it. Now you go through it, but you know what? When I was young, I tried to do something. I was told I can't. I was told, no, I'm not doing that. No, you can't do that. So then you revert to that, and you never grow. You never grow past that situation. Read on.
While many people experience at least one traumatic event in their lives, the response is subjective, and not everyone is affected in the same way.
Now some people may go through those certain same things and they able to elevate above it. But everybody, not everybody, but most people have something that may have happened to them as they was in their life that caused them to stop moving forward. And when those things happen, we have to develop the fortitude to be able to overcome it, whatever it may be, whether it's you got to forgive yourself first and foremost, and you got to forgive that person that may have caused it, and then you're going to be able to move forward. You can't limit ourselves because of things that happened to us in the past. Read.
What are traumatic events? Physical or emotional harm. Events like accidents, natural disasters, physical or sexual assault, war, or violence. Life-threatening situations. Experiences that are perceived as life-threatening, such as the unexpected loss of a loved one. Ongoing hardship. Experiences that are emotionally disturbing for a prolonged period, such as childhood neglect, poverty, or systemic oppression. What are common responses to trauma? Immediate reactions: shock, denial, confusion, and a feeling of helplessness. Long-term emotional and psychological effects: lasting fear, anxiety, shame, and helplessness.
And then one more thing, just the thought. Whatever it is, you may be antisocial, where you're not the one that's going to approach somebody to start a conversation. You may have those traits where you're not going to speak, you're not going to do things. You're going to continue to go around the same circle until you overcome whatever it is, until you overcome whatever that emotional roadblock is. You're going to continue to go around the same circle over and over and over again. You're going to stay in that box until you step out the box. All of those are forms of self-hatred. And then stepping out the box may be, okay, I need to get some help. I need some support. I need to be able to get some counsel. And I need a, what is it called? A guide, and also what's the other one where you had somebody, like a partner, accountability partner, a mentor. All of those things, those are things that we need. But if we never step outside of our comfort zone or our box, we'll never get past whatever that situation may be, because we got to get it out of our mind that get 1 Corinthians chapter 10 and 13. Because a lot of times what happens is we have it in our mind that, that's just me. This only happened to me, and it ain't happening to nobody else. So if I go and talk to somebody, they not gonna understand. That's a lie. That's that self-hatred. And a lot of times we do these things and we don't even recognize it. But it's self-hatred. Because now you're not going the place that you can go to get the solution so you can move forward. You don't go to it because in your mind you have created a vain opinion to think that, well, if I go and whatever it is that you may have, you're ashamed about it. But if you won't go and talk to nobody to get help, so you're going to continue dealing with the same thing over and over. You're going to be 10. You're going to be 20. You're going to be 30. You're going to be 40. You're going to be 50. You're going to be 60. And you're still dealing with the same thing. So you really, and it doesn't matter how many degrees you got, how many you still, if something happened to you when you was 5 years old and you didn't get over it, you're an adult, but you still have the mindset of a 5-year-old because you haven't dealt with that situation to move past it.
Come on.
To elevate and benefit yourself. because we can look all day and say, hey, I want to benefit the nation. I want to benefit the people. But if you ain't been no benefit to yourself, how are you going to benefit the nation? It's not going to be sincere is another word. It came and went. But you're not going to be really in it because you're so focused on you can help people, you can do this, you could be doing all these works and doing all these things, but if you ain't really built yourself up where you actually love yourself how you are, and you actually, I ain't saying I'm not saying stay like you are, like you're not growing, but okay, you understand that I'm gonna make mistakes, and when I make the mistake, I'm gonna learn from it. I hope that's clear. I'm not saying that you just accept who you are and you just stay that way. You see that, okay, I'm gonna have faults. I'm gonna have some shortcomings. I'm not gonna let my shortcomings stop me from moving forward and do what I gotta do. Because we have to learn how to love ourselves. We have to learn how to forgive ourselves if we've been through certain situations and we feel like even if it was your fault. Okay, you got to forgive yourself. You made a mistake. You got to forgive yourself and move forward.
That's excellent. On that point you touched on about forgiving yourself, I got a precept if I can go there real quick.
Go ahead.
Give me 2 Corinthians.
Did I tell you to get something?
Yep.
It's in 13.
Okay, I know I was, oh man.
2 Corinthians, because it's touching to the point you just made. 2 Corinthians 2 and 10 about forgiving. We got to forgive ourselves, right? We have to forgive ourselves. We have to forgive the other people, the hurt that they've caused us. The people who may not even be alive anymore, but you're holding on to the memory of what they did. You got to forgive that, all right?
Come on.
Go ahead and read.
The book of 2 Corinthians, chapter 2 and verse 10.
Bring it out.
To whom ye forgive anything, I forgive also. For if I forgave anything to whom I forgave it, for your sakes gave I it.
Yes.
In the person of Christ.
So in the spirit of Christ, we got to learn how to forgive. We got to learn how to embody what Stephen embodied. Stephen was stoned to death, and on his last dying breath, he like, forgive them, Lord, for they know not what they do. You got to forgive yourself. Forgive yourself. Your self-made mistakes, your self-made dumb decisions. Forgive him.
Bring it out.
Bless his or her silly heart and continue to allow her to grow by learning how to think properly. Okay, so that you don't have to bring her to the point where, well, it's time to forgive. No, forgive that person and grow from it. Keep reading. This is why this is important. Verse 11 is important. If you don't forgive, this is going to happen. Read.
Lest Satan should get an advantage of us.
Satan's going to get an advantage of you. Satan's going to play on your mind. He's going to talk to you in the secret recesses of your brain. So-and-so and such and such did this to you because this is who you are. This is your lot in life. And you're going to keep repeating that over and over again. That's Satan. He's opposing you. He's adverse to what it is that you're supposed to be doing. You're supposed to be cleaning your vessel to be a suitable vessel for the Lord's spirit to inhabit.
Right.
But if the Lord or if the adversary constantly sprinkling doubt, you're gonna doubt who you truly are.
Bring it out.
Read.
For we are not ignorant of his devices.
That's a device of Satan. If we could look up what device means, we looked it up earlier. If we could pull that up real quick, the definition of devices, we went to the blue letter. Pull up that blue letter and let's see what a device is. We're not ignorant of none of Satan's devices. We want to hip y'all to the same game. So y'all know what these devices are. All right? Hit that blue letter. Bring that blue letter up. They got a whole different. Yeah. Or it could be an Iran DM. Good. Yep. That ain't what we had earlier. Where he ran at? He ran back there? What I got in your DM? Just go to your DM.
Scroll down on that screen that y'all got up. Go back up. Nah, go back up.
But they're in the right place. We seen it earlier. What's that? Scroll up a little bit. Yeah, scroll up a little bit.
The one at the top. Read that.
What's that right there? Y'all was just scrolling. Go, yeah, right there, right there. You got it right there.
Which one on the right?
The preview screen. Pull the preview screen over.
Ain't that the same? Yeah, right there. Yep.
Okay, let's read that.
Device. A cogitation.
A what?
A cogitation.
Where do we get cogitations? Where are the cogitations? The cogitations where? It's in our mind. A device is a cogitation. Let's keep reading.
An inward reasoning.
Inward reasoning. You talking to yourself. Inward reasoning. This is going on in your mind. Satan's devices is in your mind. Y'all got to realize that. A lot of people be out the spirit and don't even really recognize you out the spirit. And who takes you out the spirit? Your mind. We got to conquer that mind. Every thought has to be brought under the obedience of Christ, under subjection to Christ. Every thought. You got to make sure every thought you're thinking is that godly? Was that thought righteous? I'm tripping. The law says I shouldn't think like that. That's the only way you can bring your thoughts into subjection is if you know what the law says. If you don't know what the law says, you out here lunch meat for Satan. You're a feast for Satan. You Thanksgiving dinner for Satan. He's going to feast because you ain't got your thoughts under control. You don't know that he worked up here in your thoughts. Come on. In the cogitations of your mind, in your inward reasonings. And it's not just a word or a suggestion. It's reasoning. Right. It's layers upon layers of added history from your past, from your trauma, and trying to figure out why that happened the way it happened. Satan's all in the midst of that. Read.
A cogitation, an inward reasoning, generally evil surmising or supposition.
That she didn't see me. She ain't see me. She ain't salute me. She don't like me. That's Satan. That's Satan. I could say more, but I want to take over the class. Go, read.
Is formed from in, and thermos, strong feeling.
The sisters have a strong feeling a lot of times, don't they?
Yep.
I feel like this sister is disrespectful. I feel this, that, and the third. Come on. That's Satan in there. Keep reading.
The devil.
The move.
It said strong feeling, passion, because then that's the next thing that they say to clean up the strong feeling. No, I'm very passionate about what I speak. Nah, it's Satan in there a little bit. Yeah, be sure what you're saying. Read.
The mood, in the middle voice, to be wroth.
In the middle voice, to be wroth. Go ahead.
Furious. Fume is akin. The root thu signifies to rush, rage.
Go ahead.
The word is translated device in Acts 17:29.
Read this one. Go ahead. Keep going.
Of man's production of images. Elsewhere, thoughts.
Thoughts. That's the bomb. That's where the explosion happened. That's where 2C4. That's it. The thoughts, y'all. Thoughts are the devices of Satan. Read that scripture one more time. Y'all can drop this. Y'all can drop that. Read the 2 Corinthians again.
2 Corinthians chapter 2,
verse 11.
in verse 11.
So verse 10 said, forgive yourself. Forgive others. Else, the devil is going to play in your mind. Read.
Lest Satan should get an advantage of us. For we are not ignorant of his devices.
And you don't want him to get an advantage over you. That's the only way he going to win is if he play on your thoughts. Stop him right there. He can't win. Point blank, period. Resist the devil, he should flee. What's that, 1 Peter 4:7? I think that is.
Come on.
But nonetheless, we're going to go back to the officer. Let the officer get the scripture.
1 Corinthians 10.
Yeah.
It's the book of
So
1
what
Corinthians.
what I was saying to go here is a lot of times we'll internalize things and not get help. But we'll continue because we won't get help because we think, oh, I'm ashamed to get help. I'm ashamed to admit I battle with this. I'm ashamed to admit that I struggle with this or this has happened to me. And then we won't go get help because we thinking that, hey, this happened to me. This is outlandish. Can't nobody else be going through this.
Come on.
That's Satan. That's one of them devices in your mind to keep you from getting help and growing. Read that.
It's the book of 1 Corinthians chapter 10 and verse 13.
Bring it out.
There hath no temptation taken you, but such as is common to man.
Or there's nothing that happened to you that ain't happened to a thousand other Israelites. It's nothing that you done went through that 9 times out of 10 that happened to most of our people in our community. Most of us that came in here. Read.
But God
again.
is faithful, who will suffer you to be tempted above that you are able.
So he said he will not suffer you to be tempted, meaning he will not allow you to go through any situation that you can't handle. Everything that we went through, the very fact that we are still here and breathing shows that we went through something that we can get over. We went through something that we can grow from because we still here and we still got breath in our body. We still have opportunities to fix whatever it may be, whether it was self-inflicted or if it was inflicted by somebody else. We still have opportunities to fix our minds so that we can grow and get and learn to love ourselves and have a healthy self-esteem. Read. Go back to, wait, did you finish that? Go ahead, read.
But will with the temptation also make a way to escape, that ye may be able to bear it.
There's always a way to escape, a way to not fall into temptation, but what we're talking about is always a way to fix that issue, that problem, that trauma. There's always a way to fix it. It may be somebody may have went through exactly what you went through and overcame it, actually grew and built and was able to move on from it, but since you never say nothing, you'll never get connected to that person.
Bring it out.
Because you think that you're the only one that dealt with that. That's why the scriptures say, gather yourselves together, because we've all at some point went through the similar things. It's somebody in here that went through what you went through, and they was able to come in, get their mind right, not let it hold them back, and they move forward. They learn how to have a healthy esteem of themselves. They learn how to love themselves, and they move forward. But if we never say nothing to nobody, we'll never get the help that we need. We'll never be able to grow and learn how to look at ourselves and not have all those negative thoughts, be a perfectionist, think everything. If it ain't all the way good, I just ain't gonna do it.
That's it.
We have to grow from that. And a lot of times we faced with situations, sometimes the Most High put you in a situation where you forced to deal with it.
Come on.
We want to be in a mindset that, okay, I know this is an issue, I'm gonna deal with it. Because if you wait till you forced to deal with it, it's not gonna be an easy situation. It's not gonna be a comfortable. It's not. You're gonna be forced to deal with it, and initially, it's gonna be painful. It's gonna be more painful than if you had just dealt with it yourself.
Right.
Let's pull. Did we finish that?
Yes, sir.
Let's pull that back up to trauma. Actually, let's go to the next one let's go to the next one. Let's read through that real quick. This time is flying. So we're dealing with trauma. These are the different types of trauma or trauma responses.
Bring it out.
What are the 4 types of trauma? The 4 types of trauma responses are fight, flight, freeze, and fawn. These are automatic survival strategies that a person's nervous system may use when perceiving a threat and can include behaviors like aggression, fight, avoidance, flight, paralysis, freeze, or people-pleasing, fawn.
Now let's bring up the next image. So those are the whatever levels of trauma that we've had, this is what we developed. We've either learned to fight, run, which is flight, freeze up, meaning you antisocial, you quiet, you go into a shell, you don't talk to nobody, or pawn. You try to do I said pawn. Fawn, where you just yes, yes, yes. Every time somebody asks you for something, yes, yes, I could do. Even when you can't do it, you say yes, because now you so focused on pleasing people because you don't want to disappoint nobody. That's self-hatred. Sometimes it's okay to say no. They'll be all right. Pull it up.
The 4 F's of trauma response. Fight. How do you act? Bullying.
Can you see it? You need to zoom in some?
Zoom in some.
Let's zoom in on the.
How do you act? Bullying. Impulse to control. Defensiveness. Raging. Pursuing power. Narcissistic tendencies. Demanding perfection from others. Criticizing.
So this is the behaviors of somebody that has some level of trauma, and now they feel like, okay, if I had this happen to me, ain't nobody else gonna protect me. I gotta protect myself, and it come out through bullying. Bullying, that's an issue that we have, you young men.
Come on.
Impulse to control, defensiveness, raging, somebody always mad. You correct them, and they get the hauling off things that you did. Like, okay, we're not dealing with me right now. We're talking about you. That's self-hatred. You can't own up to your mistakes.
Come on.
So anytime somebody come across your path, you got to be on top. That's what that is. You have to be on top. You can't be seen in a lesser light. Go ahead.
What are you feeling? Angry, upset, irritated, offended, stressed out, provoked, clenched jaw, tense muscles, racing heart.
You always on edge, because whatever happened to you, your mind, I'm never gonna let that happen to me again. So now you're fighting everybody off because you always upset. You all easily offended.
Bring it out.
Somebody say excuse me, and you see they got something against me. That's that thought process.
Hey, officer, you know that there's a study that can link you being in this constant fight or flight with having elevated levels of cortisol, and those elevated levels of cortisol translate to overweight or being fat as hell.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, look it up.
I didn't know that. Well, go ahead.
What can you do about it? Physical movement. Use grounding techniques. Accept support.
That's the most important part of that. Accept support. We gotta get the help. Read.
Practice self-care.
Practice self-care. You have to take care of yourself. Go to the next one, flight. Let's read through these real quick. Let's try to get through them.
How do you act? Difficulty staying still. Workaholic tendencies, perfectionist, worrying, adrenaline junkie, hyperactive, performance anxiety, panic and constant fear. What are you feeling? Anxious, panicked, worried, hard to focus, scared, spacing out, distracted, wanting to escape. What can you do about it? Learn to pace yourselves. Practice setting boundaries.
You got to pull it up, son.
Incorporate contemplation time.
Go to the next one.
Fawn, how do you act? People pleasing, trying to fit in at all costs. Lack of identity, always saying yes. No boundaries. Codependent, prioritizing others' needs. What are you feeling? Overwhelmed. Fear of saying no. Can't be true to yourselves. Disconnected from own body and needs. Emotional burnout. Feeling responsible for others. What can you do about it? Build healthy relationships. Learn to value yourself. Accept that you can't please everyone. Start saying no. Freeze, how do you act? Social anxiety. Isolated. Difficulty making decisions. Dissociated. Couch potato. Daydreaming. Depression. What are you feeling? Numbness. Zoned out. Shame. Brain fog. Bored. Constant fear. Emptiness. Stiff body. What can you do about it? Expand your comfort zone. Realize you are not alone. Do random acts of kindness. Start saying yes.
So you see the flip side. You got some that's just always saying yes, and some that always saying no. But we see all the you could have you're not limited to just be in one box, and that's in all just that one box alone. You could have traits from a few of them boxes based on the trauma that you went through. In certain situations you might be the fight. In another situation you might be on the flight. In another situation you might freeze up. In some situations you might be fawn. Where you just trying to please everybody to compensate for for the low esteem you have of yourself. These are all things that we have to. These are all levels of self-hatred that we have to overcome. We have to move forward. We got to know that this ain't it. I'm not going to bring the last link up. So why do we hate ourselves? The environment that we grew up in. Get Leviticus chapter 26 and verse 36. Actually, before you go there, Jeremiah 5 and 25. Jeremiah chapter 5, verse 25. How did we get here? Why is it that we faced so much trauma? We faced so much trauma and all of that caused us to self-hate, that caused us to have a low self-esteem of ourselves, where we scared to stand up when we need to stand up, where we scared to step out of our comfort zone. Read that.
The book of Jeremiah, chapter 5 and verse 25.
Let's go.
Your iniquities have turned away these things, and your sins have withholden good things from you.
So we didn't have opportunity. We didn't have because we in captivity. We sinned. Now we going through our punishment. We going through all of these various things that set up against us in our neighborhoods. The single parent households, the abusive husbands, the perverted uncle, the perverted pastor. All of these things are set up in our communities because of our sin. We sin as a nation. We sin. Now we going through captivity. Now we exposed to these things because we were going against the Most High God, and so it withheld us growing up in a two-parent household where both parents are active in building up the children. It caused us to grow up in a community where the gangs end up having more influence on the young men because the father was taken out the home. The father was put in the mindset that it's just work. So when the father come home, all he doing is going to sleep. He don't have it. Either he not in the house, or he's there but he's not able to be there because he's forced to work, or he was stripped out of the house. Or it's two parents in the house, and now they children are in the public school system, which don't give a damn about them, and because they both got to work. And they both work during school hours, so that child can't be homeschooled, so that child can actually be poured into like it's supposed to be. So all of these things has happened because of we in the situation that we in. We're coming out of it. Us in here, we coming out of it. But the society and the culture that we grew up in, we was in it because of our sins. That's why we have all these different layers layers of trauma that has happened to us. But that's not the end all be all. That's why we here. We here so that we can correct those things, get the right mindset, and now we could be a benefit to our people that come in after us.
That's right.
Read that, Leviticus 26 and 36.
The book of Leviticus, chapter 26.
Wait, did we finish Jeremiah 5?
Yes, sir.
We finished it. All right. Go ahead. Leviticus 26, 36.
Leviticus, chapter 26 and verse 36. And upon them that are left alive of you, I will send a faintness into their hearts in the lands of their enemies. And the sound of a shaken leaf shall chase them, and they shall flee, as fleeing from a sword, and they shall fall when none pursueth.
So this is actually the same spirit. When you always creating a scenario to stop you from doing something. Now on the surface level, we read this. A lot of us grew up black, or what they say with the scary movies, or something happened, you hear a noise, you ain't finna go. If we see the group running, what we gonna do? We gonna run with it. We don't know what we running from.
Right.
That's what we just gonna run, and then find out later what happened, why we was running. But it also goes in that same mindset, goes into that's having that self-hatred. Because you're creating all these scenarios, all these things happen. You're putting all these lions in the way in the street to prevent you from doing something and growing and moving forward because of something that happened to you. But we have to, we have to realize that, okay, these things happen because we broke God's commandments. These things happen because I'm in this predicament. That happened to me because even my parents grew up facing the curses. So they wasn't able to do certain things. That's the release for your parent. Don't hold a grudge against your parent because they didn't do certain things for you, or they put you in bad situations. Okay, you gotta forgive them because you gotta understand we all facing these curses. We all facing these curses, and our parents that don't know the truth, they was doing the best that they could based on the information that they had. Because 9 times out of 10, your grandmother and your grandfather made some mistakes when they was raising them. So they just duplicating what they saw when they was growing up. They tried to fix it and change it up a little bit, but they could only work with what they knew how to do. And then it trickled down to you. And some people may not be in that situation. Some people may have had parents that was able to rebound and actually give you a better upbringing, so to say. But for most of Israel, for most of us, we faced that, what they call it, generational curse trauma, where it was just passed down on and on and on. But we know now, we understand that those things happen because us as a nation, we broke God's commandments. Right. So that's with that understanding, now we understand, okay, this is why this is going on. This is why no matter what city you go to, no matter where you go, we facing the same problems. We facing the same struggles. Read.
Verse 37. And they shall fall one upon another, as it were before a sword, when none pursueth. And ye shall have no power to stand before your enemies.
Now go to Deuteronomy 28. Go to verse 28.
The book of Deuteronomy, chapter 28 and verse 28. The Lord shall smite thee with madness and blindness and astonishment of heart.
That's what those personality disorders are. All of these, the self-hatred, us having low self-esteem, all of that is the Lord shall smite thee with madness and blindness and astonishment of heart. That's what that is. That's what we are experiencing. We go through, we have these various levels of trauma and not knowing how to do things 40 and don't know how to do things that you should know how to do at 40. It's all a result of those curses. But the thing about it is, it ain't the end all be all. We can repent, we can change, we can get those things together. Read on.
And thou shalt grope at noonday, as the blind gropeth in darkness. And thou shalt not prosper in thy ways. And thou shalt be only oppressed and spoiled evermore.
And this is, reading this curse, this is another thing that contributed to that self-hatred. Because us as a people, and a lot of times individuals, you strive to do something, and you get pushed back, you get pushed back. It makes a person go crazy. Like, you know what? Every time I try to get better, I get pushed back. You know what? Forget it. I just ain't gonna do nothing. To hell with it. Now you're doing you're performing destructive behaviors first and foremost towards yourself, and then it's going to duplicate itself on how you treat your brother or your sister. Go to Jeremiah 5:24. Actually, read 25 again. I skipped to 20. I skipped to Jeremiah. I didn't read it like I wanted to read it. But read 5:25 again.
The book of Jeremiah, chapter 5 and verse 25. Your iniquities have turned away these things, and your sins have withholden good things from you.
So now we realize that, okay, this is the reason why I've experienced certain levels of trauma, because this is how the Most High dealt with us as a nation. We experienced certain levels of trauma that caused us to have low self-esteem. Jump up to 24.
Verse 24. Neither say they in their heart, let us now fear the Lord our God, that giveth rain, both the former and the latter in his season. He reserved unto us the appointed weeks of the harvest.
So the mindset that we have to have now, and we already have it, we in here, is okay, let me fear the Lord. Let me fear the Lord and do what it is that he requires of me. Let me see how the Lord views me. Now that I'm keeping the commandments, let me see how the Lord views me. And then I'm gonna build off of that.
Come on.
That's how you remain humble, but you have a healthy self-esteem. Where you don't get conflated in your mind and now you think you're better than your people. But now you have a healthy self-esteem so that you can actually move forward, and you're not stepping on people to move forward.
That's
You're not harming others to get yourself on top. You actually moving forward to get yourself on top, and as you get on top, you're gonna pull your people with you. You're not doing it for fame, for vain glory. You ain't doing it just to get accolades or get some get somebody to say good job. You doing it because you fear God, and it's what God put in you. You understand that God put certain gifts and talents and abilities in you, irregardless of what your shortcomings may be. The Most High put certain talents and gifts and abilities within you so you can operate in those, and they should overshadow your shortcomings as you strengthen in your shortcomings and your weaknesses. Go to 1 John 4:17. And I want y'all to pull up that video that free yourself by forgiveness. Read that.
1 John chapter 4 and verse 17.
I'm going to speed up a little bit because I got to run out of time. Go ahead.
Herein is our love made perfect, that we may have boldness in the day of judgment. Because as he is, so are we in this world.
Wait a minute. Let me look at that. Why did I pull that? Pull up that video.
You overcome the emotion of your past, and you no longer have your attention on that person or that experience any longer, right? And so you feel so good that you no longer want to feel bad, right? And so you free yourself from that belief, and you free that person as well, or the experience. The only person that this really is affecting is me. They went on with their life.
Yeah.
They're you know, they started a new career. They're living in a new place. They're writing a book. You know, they're on their way, and you're holding yourself hostage to the past.
So that's what happens when whatever levels of trauma, and you know your own trauma, you know what happened, you know whatever it may be. You know what it is because it always comes up when you move. It always comes to this is how you know you struggle with certain. Not if it always comes up in your mind and it stops you from moving forward. If it comes, the thing is gonna come to your mind because that's one of the devices of Satan. It's gonna come to your mind, but your actions that follow is what's gonna determine if you're gonna be bound by that trauma. Right. So you, like he said like the guy said in the video, you hold yourself hostage to whatever that situation is, and now you call that situation. Yeah, it may have been hatred, but now because you ain't moved on from it. Now you moving in self-hatred. You hate yourself because now you're not doing nothing to better yourself. You stand in the same position or place. Get 2 Corinthians chapter 5 verse 17.
The book of 2 Corinthians, chapter 5 and verse 17.
Come on.
Therefore, if any man be in Christ, he is a new creature. Old things are passed away.
What is passed away?
Old things are passed away.
We have to let go of the past. We got to let go of that thing that happened yesterday. Because that's the only way we're going to be able to move forward. You got to forgive yourself, and if somebody else is involved, you got to forgive that person, and you got to move forward. Read.
Behold, all things are become new.
It says all things are become new. We have to, like Paul said, we can't focus on the things that's behind us. We got to press towards what get it for me. Philippians. Is it Philippians 4? Is it Philippians 4?
Philippians chapter 3 and verse 14.
Come on.
I press toward the mark for the prize of the high calling of God in Christ Jesus.
Because imagine this. This is Paul. We know Paul wrote the book of Philippians. Paul was persecuting the church. Killing. He was killing the apostles. He was killing the prophets that was going forth and spreading the gospel. Imagine if Paul was stuck in that mindset. Man, but I was killing the prophets. But I was killing them. How could I go out and how could I go out and teach? How could I write all these letters? But I was doing this. It's the same thing. We have to move on. We have to move forward. Because if Paul had that mindset, we wouldn't have no New Testament. We wouldn't have these letters to reference to actually push us forward and have some understanding. We wouldn't have it if Paul was in that same mindset. So we got to press forward. Ain't nothing we could do about yesterday. And I'm saying yesterday because I don't want to just limit it to, oh, you was a child and this happened to you as a child. No, even in this truth you may have made some mistakes. You may have done something or made a decision that wasn't good. And it put you in a certain position. Okay, you made the decision. Okay, learn from it and keep moving forward. Shake the dust off and keep moving forward. That's all you could do. Because dwelling on it, criticizing yourself, all of that, you're not gonna be able to fix. It's not gonna fix it. It's not gonna change it ain't gonna change the decision. Okay, I made a bad decision yesterday. Okay, today I'm gonna do what I'm gonna do my best to make better decisions. I'm not gonna go down that same road. Go to 1 John 4 and 17. Did we finish that? Yeah, we finished. Yeah, 1 John 4 and 17.
Book of 1 John, chapter 4, in verse 17. Herein is our love made perfect, that we may have boldness in the day of judgment. Because as he is, so are we in this world.
Read.
There is no fear in love, but perfect love casteth out fear.
There's no fear in love. There's no fear in us keeping the commandments. If we're keeping the commandments, we shouldn't have no fear in our decision making.
That's
okay,
right.
Make a decision. If you mess up, you made a bad decision, okay, you learn from it and you keep it pushing. There's no fear in love, because a lot of times we don't do things because our carnal thought process that prevent us from doing a lot of things because we hate ourselves. We don't want to. We won't say it. We can't. A lot of times we won't say though. We won't identify it as that. But we hate ourselves when we hold ourselves back from actually moving forward and being what the Most High called us in here to be.
Right.
We hold ourselves back because we operate in that fear of making a mistake or looking bad or looking like this or looking like that. We don't want to appear to be like this. So what? Do it. If it's good, okay, keep doing it. But if you do it and it's a mistake, okay, take the correction, correct yourself, whatever it is. Okay, that was a bad decision. I shouldn't have did that. I ain't gonna do that no more, but I'm gonna do this. And that's how we grow. We grow when we make mistakes. You grow. When you make a mistake, it hit home hard, and you know all right, I've been faced with this before. And the last time I did this, but you know what? I'm not going back down that road. I don't want to, and it's the same thought process, because you got one thought process, I don't want to feel that pain no more. And then if you're in the wrong mindset, you're going to hold yourself back and you're never going to grow.
Message.
But if you're in the mindset of I'm going to grow, and you face that same situation, ooh, I remember when I did this, and I ain't like how that felt. That was bad. You know what? I'm gonna go this way. You ain't gonna freeze up. You just gonna make a better decision. And when you make that better decision, and that better decision shows itself by the fruits that come after of it, you're gonna continue to grow, because you moving forward, and you're not crippling and paralyzing yourself. And that's why it says there's no fear in love, but perfect love casts out fear. When we keep in the commandments, we develop that boldness, that confidence to move. Because when we come together, even in the part 2 of the class is going to be dealing with our brothers, but offenses, the scripture say offenses going to come. We're going to, at some point, we're going to offend each other. Right. But with that offense, it shouldn't be now you holding a grudge and you treating your brother or your sister like a nigga in the street. Right. You holding on to a grudge, and every time you see him, you waving it over their head. Well, you did this to me. Come on. We got to learn how to deal better and move forward. There may be some false accusations that come up against you. There may be some things that happen where you bump head with a sister, you bump head with a brother. Okay, fix it and move forward. That's why it came, to see if you was going to apply the law. You were faced with that situation to see if you was going to take it, learn from it, and grow and build a better bond, or if you was going to take it and act like a nigga and hold a grudge, and now you and this sister got strife over something that happened. Or you and this brother got strife over something that happened. That's not, when we encounter issues with each other, we supposed to fix it, resolve it. I'm not saying that we're going to be best of friends, but we fix it, resolve it, and move forward. That's how we build. That's how the nation is built. That's right. Each individual, like it says, and going back to the course of action, first Ezra chapter 14 and 34. Yeah, I'm going to have to move. First Ezra 14 and 34.
You mean second Ezra?
Yeah, second Ezra, my bad. Second Ezra. That ain't in my notes. That just popped in my head.
It's the book of second Ezra, chapter 14 and verse
14 and 13.
Second Ezra, chapter 14 and verse 13.
Let's go.
Now therefore, set thine house in order.
Set thine house in order. First and foremost, that's you individually. Setting your house in order is first and foremost you individually. You have to learn, you setting your house in order is learning how to accept yourself, love yourself, get rid of those negative thoughts of yourself. Learn how to take a compliment. Learn how to amplify whatever your gifts and talents are, and work on your weaknesses. Don't ignore them, but you still got to work on them, but don't let your weaknesses hold you back from moving forward. Read.
Now therefore, set thine house in order, and reprove thy people. Comfort such of them.
All right, that's all I wanted off that one. Go to Sirach. Hebrews 12 and 12. Hebrews chapter 12 and verse 12.
The book of Hebrews, chapter 12 and verse 12. Wherefore, lift up the hands which hang down, and the feeble knees, and make straight paths for your feet, lest that which is lame be turned out of the way, but let it rather be healed.
So we have to stand up. We gotta face our problems. We gotta face our fears. We gotta face whatever it is that's holding us back, because you only doing a disservice to yourself. And then whatever it is that the Most High put in you to be able to contribute to the building back of the body, first you a disservice to yourself, and then because you don't you don't cultivate it and grow, you're a disservice to the body, because now what the Most High brought you here to contribute, you're not going to contribute because you can't overcome yourself. Read. You read 13?
Yes, sir.
And it says, make straight paths for your feet, lest that which is lame be turned out of the way. Meaning if you don't overcome those things that's holding you back, you're going to find yourself not getting the kingdom. Your life going to be in vain because you didn't actually overcome those things. You let yourself stay in the box. So you in that box going to get thrown in the fire. And it said that and it said, but let it rather be healed. That's what we have to do. Now, that healing gonna come through counsel. That healing gonna come through you taking action and doing and taking action, actually moving in esteem. Because when you first start doing this, you're not gonna feel like doing it. It's not gonna be easy at first, initially. But we have to take them steps. Because as we take those steps, it's gonna become more natural, and then we're gonna be able to go to the next battle. Yeah. First, Sirach chapter 30 and 23. Sirach chapter 30 and verse 23.
The book of Sirach, chapter 30 and verse 23. Love thine own soul.
Read that again.
Love thine own soul.
This is what we have to do. If we're going to grow, if we're going to learn to not hate ourselves, we have to love our own soul. The Most High ain't we in here, the Most High woke you up for a reason.
That's
right. So if the Most High woke you up, why would you hold yourself to some trauma that happened when you was 6, some trauma that happened when you was 10, something that happened when you was a teenager? Why would you hold yourself bound to that when the Most High showed you the greatest information on this earth? He showed you that we supposed to be ruling. We supposed to be on top. We're not there. We know why we're not there, but now we're striving to get back there. So it says, love thine own soul, read.
And comfort thy heart.
And comfort your heart. Comfort your heart through the scriptures. Comfort your heart by getting counsel, and the counselor going to give you the scriptures. Read.
Remove sorrow far from thee.
Remove that trauma. Whatever happened to you in the past, remove that far from you. Don't let your thoughts dwell on that. Dwell on the fact that the Most High woke you up, you came into it, now you're learning the truth. You're learning the reason why our community is in the shape that it's in, and now you're learning how to better yourself so that you could be a benefit to the people in the community that's coming in after you. Read.
For sorrow hath killed many, and there is no profit therein.
Because if you constantly dwell on that self-hatred, those negative thoughts, you're only doing yourself a disservice. Go to John chapter 2 and verse 24.
The book of John, chapter 2 and verse 24.
Because we have to learn how to see ourselves how God seen us, how God sees us, and based on the purpose that God brought us in here. Read.
But Jesus did not commit himself unto them, but he knew all men.
Read that again.
But Jesus did not commit himself unto them, because he knew all men.
He knew all men. He didn't commit himself to them, meaning he didn't stand to their courtesy. He didn't base his actions based on what the people thought. Read.
And needed not that any should testify of man, for he knew what was in man.
Jesus knew what he was brought here to do, and it wasn't no man on this earth that was going to stop him from fulfilling the purpose why he came on this earth.
Come on.
He knew what was in man, so he didn't go to Sirach just to give more sense on that. He didn't. It says that Jesus did not commit himself unto them because he knew all men, and needed not that any should testify of man, for he knew what was in man. We are wishy-washy. We wishy-washy. But God ain't wishy-washy. The scriptures ain't wishy-washy. Did I tell you what to get? You said Sirach. Sirach, I thought I put it in here. Shoot. where it says, I thought I put it on here. I think it's 33. Is this it? I think it's in 30. Where it says, dang it, it's on the tip of my tongue, but I can't formulate the words. Sirach 33:19.
The book of Sirach, chapter 33 and verse 19.
Come on.
Actually, jump to 21, just to get straight to the point.
Verse 21. For better it is that thy children should seek to thee, than that thou shouldest stand to their courtesy.
And when you read all of it, it's basically saying, no, read the next verse. This is the point.
In all thy works, keep to thyself the preeminence. Leave not a stain in thine honor.
So the actions that we take, the things that we do, it shouldn't be based on what we think somebody gonna think about us. It shouldn't be based on what we think somebody gonna feel about what we did. Because some of the things that we do, it might hurt somebody's feelings.
Right.
But in some situations, your feelings need to get hurt for you to actually examine yourself and get right.
That's right.
Everything is not gonna feel good. But you have to be confident in your actions. If you're sincerely doing something and you offend somebody, what's gonna happen? Okay, they come to you and let you know that you offended them, and you make amends, you apologize if necessary, you correct it, and now y'all can move forward. And now you've learned how to deal with this person. You've learned something about your brother or sister, so now you're not gonna offend them no more.
Yeah.
But don't let, I don't want to offend nobody. Don't let that be a thought to now you not moving. But now you're not doing anything because you don't want to offend nobody. We all had different upbringings where certain things make us feel a certain, who cares? And I'm saying that in the sense of the class. I ain't saying that we supposed to just walk around not caring about how people feel, that we just walking around being an offense to everybody. I'm not saying that. But what I am saying is you got to be confident, and if you're sincere and your mindset is to build up the nation, you have to be sincerely make decisions, make moves, do what you got to do. And then when a conflict arises, okay, let me fix this conflict, let me do this, and I'm going to keep moving. And now I've learned how to better deal with my people, but I'm going to keep moving. I'm not going to stop and be like, I'm going to go in the shell. I don't want to offend nobody. I don't want nobody to think this, or I don't want nobody to say this. No, it says, in all thy works, keep to thyself the preeminence, meaning don't let nobody else dictate your actions. You have to, if you make a decision and it was a bad decision, okay, own up to that fault, fix it, and keep moving. Don't be scared Don't be scared to make decisions based off of something that happened to you yesterday. Don't be scared to make moves. I hope it's making that makes sense. Go to Jeremiah 1 and 4. Jeremiah chapter 1 and verse 4. And then I want y'all to bring up, this is going to be the last scripture, and then I'm going to bring up one of these articles. Jeremiah 1 and verse 4. You're going to read through to 8.
The book of Jeremiah, chapter 1 and verse 4.
Because what we have to develop, we have to start seeing ourselves like the Most High God sees us.
Right.
We don't want to get in our own esteem of ourselves, but we want to view ourselves as God sees. Because if we get caught up in our own esteem, we'll mess around and be arrogant, and we'll be doing more harm to others than good. We gotta see ourselves how the Most High God sees us. Read that.
Then the word of the Lord came unto me, saying, Before I formed thee in the belly, I knew thee. And before thou camest forth out of the womb, I sanctified thee. And I ordained thee a prophet unto the nations.
So we got to understand that whatever it is that you went through, this is saying that the Most High knew you before you was born. So he knew you was going to go through all of these things throughout your life, but he knew when you turned 29, he was going to show you, he was going to bring you into this truth. He knew that when you turned 35, he was going to bring you into this truth. He knew that when you turned 60, he was going to bring you into this truth. And because of the things that you experienced, you was gonna be a benefit to the nation because you was gonna get the tools that you need because he brought you in when he brought you in, and then he know he gonna bring somebody in 5 years later that's gonna be in the same, that went through the same thing you went through, and if you dealt right, you got over it, you built your spirit up, and now that person you're gonna be able to help that person to come in after you.
Come on.
Read.
Then said I, Lord God, behold, I cannot speak, for I am a child.
We can't be like this. Well, no, you said you brought me in here for this, but no, I don't got no experience. I'm scared. I don't really think I can accomplish that. No, we got to view ourselves how God viewed us. Read.
But the Lord said unto me, say not I am a child, for thou shalt go to all that I shall send thee.
Hey, he basically like, I don't want to hear that. I told you that I called you to be a prophet. I'm gonna send you out, do what I told you to do. I don't want to hear I'm a child. I'm wet behind the ears. No, we have to see ourselves as God sees us. Read.
And whatsoever I command thee, thou shalt speak. Be not afraid of their faces, for I am with thee to deliver thee, saith the Lord.
So we gotta embrace change. Change ain't always gonna feel good, but we gotta embrace it because that's the only way we're gonna grow. That's the only way we're gonna develop and be of a more benefit to the body. Because everything that we go through, when you go back to Sirach 33:17, it says, read that real quick. Because everything that we've been through, as we overcome it, it's gonna be somebody that come into this truth that we're gonna have to be able to help. But if we keep going around the same circle and we never fix it, the Most High not gonna be able to use us to help the person to come in after us. Read that.
The book of Sirach, chapter 33, verse 17.
Come on.
Consider that I labor not for myself only, but for all them that seek learning.
So our labor in getting our own mind right, our labor in getting ourselves, our spirit together, overcoming that trauma, overcoming that self-hate, overcoming that self-esteem, it's not just for us. It's for the nation. It's for our people. It's for us men. You coming in here, it's for you to go back out and teach your people.
Yeah.
Pull up the article, the one that says traits of self-esteem. It's it should be let me see. Where that channel at? It's the link. It's the first link after the borderline. Is that it? Yup, that's it. Let's read through this real quick, and then we're going to conclude the class after this.
Traits of self-esteem. Characteristics of healthy self-esteem include confidence in abilities, self-acceptance, resilience, and the ability to set and maintain boundaries.
Meaning sometimes you're going to have to tell people no. You ain't always got to say yes. You have confidence in your abilities, meaning you know you can accomplish a task, you go and accomplish it without being an offense to somebody else intentionally. Go ahead.
People with high self-esteem are also more likely to be goal-oriented, comfortable with change, and able to form healthy relationships.
Go ahead.
Key characteristics of high self-esteem: confidence and competence, a belief in your abilities and skills, which lead to making decisions without excessive doubt. Self-acceptance and self-compassion, the ability to accept yourself as you are, including your strengths and weaknesses, and to treat yourself with kindness during difficult times. Resilience, the capacity to cope with stress and setbacks, viewing them as opportunities for growth rather than personal failures. Healthy boundaries, the ability to say no and to express your needs and opinions, even if they differ from others. Purpose and goals, being goal-oriented and having...
real quick on that, it says healthy boundaries, the ability to say no and to express your needs and opinions, even if they differ from others. That's called being you just agreeable to everybody. Even if something is implemented, if something is said, you just not gonna say nothing because you don't want to go through the conflict. That's not conducive to building of the body. If you in a department, you come in here, your opinion matters, because that's why the Most High brought each and every one of us in here to be able to contribute to the building of the body. You may have experience in something, and you may see something going left, and you're able to put your 2 cents in so that it don't go left, so it get back straight. But because you didn't say nothing, because you don't think that you can express your opinion, things are gonna go left, and then this is gonna be all the way off course, and then it's gonna be a problem because you seen something but you didn't say nothing. That's us having confidence towards God, because understanding we all not gonna see the same things. We all not gonna be able to walk. We all not gonna be able to make the best decisions. But if you have experience and you've seen something before and you say something, let's say you say something and it don't get handled. You said something, you did your part. So now the blood is off your hands. Now it's that person's fault because they didn't listen to you. But if you don't say nothing and this stuff go left, you didn't even say something when you seen something, so now the blood is on your hands. Because the situation could have had the potential to be fixed before it went too far off, but because you didn't say nothing, now there's a problem, and now all this extra energy got to be applied to this problem to fix it.
Come on.
That's having healthy self-esteem. I mean, you see something, you're gonna say something, no matter what the consequences may be.
Bring it out.
Go ahead.
Purpose and goals. Being goal-oriented and having a sense of purpose in life. Realistic expectations. Having realistic expectations for yourselves and others, and being able to accept compliments without dismissing them.
So that realistic expectations is going into us having even when you're setting goals, you're setting attainable goals that you start small, and as you knock out those small things, it's gonna build up your confidence to be able to knock out the bigger things. Go ahead.
Good relationships. The ability to form and maintain secure, honest relationships, and to end unhealthy ones when necessary.
That's very important in this truth, because some people may think that you're gonna be best of buddies with everybody that come in the truth. That's not true.
Bring it out.
We supposed to be at peace with everybody, but you're not gonna be best friends with everybody. Some people some people's spirits you're gonna have to be able to say shalom and move around. Not saying that you're not being wrong for doing that. You know that, okay, the spirit that's on this brother or on this sister is not good for me, because it's gonna trigger and it's gonna cause me to do some things that I shouldn't be doing. So it's best for me to create a boundary, and I'm gonna be at peace with this brother or sister, but I'm not gonna be like this, because if I'm like this, the spirit that's on them is gonna motivate the spirit that's on me, and then we're gonna be doing some dumb stuff together. Read.
Responsibility. Taking responsibility for your actions and decisions.
That's a big one too. When you have high self-esteem, you're able to accept when you're wrong. Low self-esteem, somebody points something out, you making something up. You ain't able to accept responsibilities for your actions.
Come on.
Somebody with high self-esteem, however you want to say it, they're gonna be able to accept when they do something wrong, because they understand that, hey, I got qualities, I got strengths, and I got weaknesses. When my weaknesses come out, I'm gonna accept. Hey, I made a mistake. Hey, I apologize. I'm gonna make sure I don't do it again. So that's it, right?
Yes, sir. I think so.
So with that, conclude the class. Lord's will, y'all got something from it.